Recording in progress. Oh my gosh. Hey y'all, it's Cam.
Hey y'all, it's Desinae.
Can we try that again? I forgot the order.
Hey y'all, it's Cam.
Hey y'all, it's Desinae.
Hey, I'm Jada.
Hey, I'm Jay, and you're listening to 4 Deep, a podcast for 4 Black women in their 20-somethings who aren't afraid to get deep with it.
And if you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, don't forget to rate us 5 stars. And if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And turn on those post notifications. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at 4DPod, FOURDEEPPOD.
And make sure y'all let us know what you think about each episode, what our deep rating was, 1 through 4 deep. You can also participate in a poll on Spotify. Let us know how you feel about each episode. But you can DM us, you can comment, we just want to hear from you in any way, shape, form possible. Talk to us, we talk back.
Yes, we do. And we're about to get into Rosebud and Thorn. So if this is your first time listening or watching us on YouTube, roses are something that happened that was really good in our week, and buds are something that we're looking forward to in our next week, and thorns are something that was a little bit a little salt on the game for last week. So who wants to open this one up?
I guess I can open it up. Okay, so for a rose, my nephew turned 4 years old, so he had a birthday party. And just the cutest thing ever. And so I got to see my baby brother, my stepsister. She just turned 4 today, and I got to see him and all the other little kids. And little kids, they just have such good energy. They just make you so happy. So I was just so happy to see everybody, my mom, my sister, but I got to see everybody. So that was good because I don't really get to, I don't drive back to Lancaster like that, so I don't get to see them as often. And then for a bud, it's I don't know yet, but I went to go get my passport. So I am happy about that, paid for it, took the picture. My picture was actually kind of cute. My head looked kind of cute. And paid the little expedited fee. They increased the time to 7 to 9 weeks instead of 5 to 7 weeks. So
Lord.
It's gonna be cutting.
We gonna see. I gotta check. Yeah, gotta check the website. The website should let me know exactly when it's gonna get here though. And then I don't know, I guess I'll take whatever steps is necessary from there, but hopefully everything got work out and it come in time. For a thorn, I feel like something had to happen.
I love that we got to think about these.
Amen.
That's what I'm saying. I must have had like a good week. Damn, y'all don't know.
Hey, shoot.
Okay.
Yeah.
No problem.
You ain't got to search
That's
for
what I'm saying.
a
We could round it
problem.
back. We could spin the block. Bring it back around. No.
Right, okay. I could go next.
Okay.
Let's see. My rose. I don't know if there's been anything that was just like great that happened. Everything's just been cool. Everything's just been regular, you know what I mean? But let's see. I guess I could say my rose is that I had a good weekend. Oh, my rose is that I went to Nobu. I could say that because I've never been.
Ooh.
And that's just a place that you wanna go and experience one good time.
Was
it was a
good?
vibe. It was good. It was good. Small portions. But I had got this baked snow crab sushi roll, and it was so good. The guy, I asked him because I don't like raw sushi. I want my stuff cooked, but I'm I always get a California roll or shrimp tempura. This is Nobu. I gotta try something. So I asked him which one was his favorite, and he didn't even let me get the question out all the way. He said the baked snow crab, and I was like, all right, well, then let me get that one then. And I wanted to try they had like Wagyu beef dumplings, they looked really good, but they were sold out. And I was very hurt
so they
about
real
that.
good.
So
And I guess I wouldn't know. My bud is that, so in the last episode, I was talking about how I had a book like Such a Fun Age by Kylie Reid. I took it back. It wasn't that it was bad. It wasn't that it was bad. I just couldn't get into it because I just was not feeling the plot. Like I just didn't want to deal with like the police brutality and privilege, blackness.
Oh, yeah.
I just didn't want to read about it. I wasn't in the mood for that. So then I went to go get another book. It's called A Sister's Secret. But I'm about to take that one back too because I done found out the secret in chapter 5.
Oh my God.
So what is the rest of the book?
The suspense is gone. It's over.
The suspense is over. I really don't know. So it's about 5 sisters. Their mom dies. The oldest is like 36 and the youngest is 19. And the middle sister, maybe she's like the second oldest, she like brings them all together to have like regular sister time since their mom is passed. So the youngest sister lives with her. And there's supposed to be a secret about that second oldest sister that has to do with the youngest sister that's gonna like change everybody's lives. And I go ahead and I figure it out. Trigger warning: the husband of the second oldest sister is raping the youngest sister. And I said, I don't want to read this.
Yeah.
I don't want to read this. So that's
Take it back. Take it back.
So my bud is, I'm trying to find a new book. Chapter 5. The way they set it up, they didn't even say it.
And I was not expecting that. I thought the secret was the sister was really her mama. Y'all know that's always really the secret.
Honestly, I would have liked that. I would have liked that sister. That secret a lot more.
Oh my God. Desinae, write that one. Please write that book.
Yeah, that sounds good.
That's a lot.
Well, okay, so wait, you basically just figured out the secret. They didn't reveal it necessarily, but you kind of like figured it out.
It was the way they set it up. I don't think that the author, I also don't care very much for the way that she writes.
Okay.
So I don't think that like she did a good job in trying to not expose the secret. She literally set it up. Cause like it was like the sister would go to church and the husband was like, oh, I'll meet you at the later service. You want me? And then the youngest sister, she could obviously tell like she was dealing with something. Like you were just thinking like, oh, maybe it's just she's struggling with the death of her mom still, but she was like not talking. She wasn't showering. She was wearing a lot of layers of clothing. She was hiding. And then when he came to like knock on the door and like come in the room, she was like scared and hiding and not answering. So I'm like, I already know what it is. I just kind of like put it all together. And so I went to like one of the last pages in the book, and then that's when it said that, and I said, yeah, I don't want to read about it. Like I just don't want to read about that.
So it went on for that long? That's a long time. Like, I thought that they told you in chapter 5. You figured it out in chapter 5. So who knows? Yeah, that's too much.
Yeah, it just kind of always like leading together.
Yeah.
So I gotta find a new book. So I'm like, I want to read something, and everybody keeps disappointing me. So I'm probably gonna take myself to the library maybe tomorrow or Wednesday. And then my thorn, my allergies had me fighting for my life. But I feel a lot better now. But it was like I couldn't breathe. No matter what I was taking, my nose was just stuffed up. And it wasn't even like my nose was running. It just was sneezing and stuffed up. It was a terrible time. But I'm feeling better now. So
good.
Love that. Well, I guess I can. Oh, you want to go?
You got it.
Okay.
Go ahead, big fella.
Let's see. Rose. One obvious one. I got baptized.
Yes.
That felt amazing. I really did enjoy it. Like the church was amazing. Like they opened up the doors and it just felt really free and just felt like really nice. And I was the second to last to get baptized. So I had a lot of examples because I was like, I don't know what to expect. But I seen a lot of people go before me and everybody was just like so supportive, just cheering and just really like, I don't know. I didn't expect it because, you know, you really see the world cheer for a lot of different things that are not of God. And so to see like such excitement and like the congratulations and like everything. It was just like so refreshing to have that. Yeah. So yeah, that was really nice. And I told y'all, but for the listeners, when I went afterwards, I took myself out to brunch. And when I was done, I basically asked the waiter for the check, and he was like, "Oh, your meal is already paid for." And I was like, I was gonna say, what?
Did it for me.
Girl, I was crying. I was definitely crying in the restaurant. I said, Jada, you need to get up. You just need to get up and go. I was like, so you telling me I can just go? I can just leave right now? He was like, yeah. I was like, do you know who did that? He was like, no, like the other waiter, he basically told me like your table was paid for. And I was like, they don't even know why I was here celebrating. I was like, God, you already showing up and showing out and just showing me love. So I definitely think that was God like rewarding me for
your
just that faithfulness and that outward display of a commitment to him. So it was really like nice to have that confirmation and like to have God's love shown immediately after. So it was just really nice. Put me in a great spot. Let's see. A bud would be 3 out of 4 Div is gonna be together this weekend.
Yes.
I know, I'm so sorry, Desinae. Girl, look, if we could ship you out here, we would.
Pack her in your suitcase.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I'll put you in my suitcase, girl.
And my thorn is that I woke up sick this morning and I'm feeling a lot better right now. Like, honestly, it probably was just like a little one day thing, but I woke up with body aches, chills. It really wasn't that much of a fever. It was like 99.25. So I really wasn't like
0.25.
But I did go to work. I just wore a mask, but they obviously seen that I was like not feeling it. So they was like, girl, go home. I was like, okay, cool. But they was trying to take my PTO, but I said, Oh, okay. And another bud, I did book tickets to come back to LA. Yay.
Yay.
So I'm coming back May 17th to the 22nd. So I'm excited to do that because I'm going out there for my best friend's graduation. She's graduating from nursing school. So yeah. So I'm really excited about that. Yeah, them tickets were a lot, but I was like, ooh, springtime, huh? But I was like, hey, it's okay. It's all right.
My rose, I got to see my family this weekend. So that was really nice and heartwarming. Just love that. My bud, same as what Jada said, coming to DC, so I'm excited about that. And then my thorn, I don't know, just right now I have to clean my room and I got laundry going. I should have put it in the dryer before we started, but it's okay. But yeah, nothing too major last week. I didn't really have much to complain about. It was definitely a much easier going week, just mentally. So I'm happy about that. And yeah, I ain't got no complaints. I'm on my fake spring break vibe. So yeah. But yeah, that's all. And yeah, speaking of spring break, no longer have one. And that's, this is me trying to transition. And that's, the results of being post-grad. So that's definitely been interesting. But you see, I'm going out of town. So I said, I'm going to get this spring break one way or another. Okay.
That part.
So yeah. Yeah. It's my thanks.
Yeah, no. Personal development after post-grad is like really interesting because you actually got to try. It's not like structured anymore, like before you are learning daily and you're growing and you're surrounded by a whole bunch of people that's on the same path or similar path as you. So it's really easy to like get that motivation, that inspiration to like want to do better and continue to grow. Post-grad, you got to do that to self. You got to do that yourself. Yeah. And I think for like basically majority of us or all of us, right? It was like COVID. So that was a whole nother thing. Like entering adulthood in this way was really, really unfortunate. So I was just like trying to navigate that. And I'm like, man, like prices are on the rise. But one thing I can say, okay, is the student loan that is, in like this.
That pause.
Yeah, it's
Pause
on
has
the
been too
pause.
nice.
So, hey, we got pros and cons.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, when you're in that environment already, it's inevitable to grow. But now you have to be more intentional about like how you decide to grow and learn. I feel like it's much easier to be stagnant at this point, like, and be comfortable. And there's nothing wrong with that. Some point periods of life you have to be stagnant because that's just, what you can handle. But yeah, it's definitely you have to be a lot more intentional about how you just want to be better and still learn. Like everything's growing and moving and evolving. And, we're still young too. So there's a lot for us to learn, whether it be education wise or just about ourselves. It's a lot. So trying to navigate that. Didn't nobody say nothing about that. Didn't nobody say not a thing about having to figure that out. So, yeah, it's definitely been interesting, but I think the first step is admitting that you have to, do that work and get it done. So yeah, it's been a ride, but I like it. Just learning. I've been learning like how different ways to like reflect on how I'm feeling or how to deal with ways that I'm feeling. What are things in my routine that make me, that impact my like the way I feel. Like if I'm not doing if I'm not doing a certain thing, is my mood shifted? Do I feel better? Do I feel worse? And kind of like navigating those things. I know a big thing now that's really important to me. Like if it's stressing me out, like to the point where I'm thinking about it 24/7, I'm stressed. I can literally feel anxious, but it's not a life or death situation. Just like, don't do it. Like, and that's helped me like a lot, honestly. So that's been really helpful. Like, say today, I've been stressing like, oh my gosh, like I need to go to the gym. I can't go today. Can I go tomorrow? Do I have time? But I gotta do this and this. Just don't go. Like the gym ain't going nowhere. There's other ways that I can work on my body and myself, to evolve. I don't have to go to the gym. I could do a little 1-2 up in here.
Real.
And so, yeah, just like, trying to shift that. I feel like there's so many things that we stress about. And me personally, when I get stressed, it's not an easy stress. Sometimes it's manageable throughout my day, but a lot of times it really just like affects like my motivation and how I move throughout the day and just how I'm feeling. So I have to really like know how to manage it and just realize what's worth my energy and what isn't. So I've been learning that. It's been a roller coaster, but life's a roller coaster, so just gotta roll with it. But yeah, so that's definitely been a big part of my journey post grad. So yeah, but again, also can't do it by myself. Definitely gotta lean into my village and stuff. So that's been helping out a lot as well.
I'm glad that you said that because like I feel like we talk a lot about self-discipline and like just discipline yourself and being able to do stuff, but I feel like we don't really talk a lot about like doing certain things that impact the way that you feel throughout the day so you actually have the motivation to do that shit because it's one thing to tell yourself that you need to be doing all this and that, but if you don't feel like you got the energy for that, it's okay. And you gotta be cool with that. Like it's okay. And I feel like in the beginning, or not even really in the beginning, maybe like more so in like the middle, probably been out of school for like 2 years now. And in like the middle of that, I feel like I was pushing myself so much on self-discipline. And then it'll be to the point where like, okay, now I don't do a certain thing and now I'm feeling a way about myself about it or I'm stressing out about it. But then as soon as you stress yourself out, now you're taking away mental energy from anything that you could have been doing that you stressed out about. Like it's really like you really do got to pay attention to the way that you feel. Like we need to learn how to navigate our emotions. That's really what's like going into the adult world. It's just the emotions that come along with everything. Like being young, but feeling like we really getting older, feeling like we got to do so much. Like it's so many emotions that go into figuring out how to take care of yourself. And I definitely feel like college was like a great stepping stone for like into the real world. Like as much as people like talk about college, I will always advocate for college, you know. Of course it's not for everybody, but without college, transitioning into just the real world, like high school to the real world, no, like I don't know what, you know, how shit would have went for me. So college was just like you still got a little helping hand, but you also on your own away from your family. So it's really like the best. It's like it's a great stepping stone. And so yeah, dealing with the emotions was like really something for me post grad, and kind of just looking for a sense of direction, you know, feeling ways about myself if I wasn't where I was, or if I felt like I wasn't where I was supposed to be. Because we're all where we're supposed to be. Um, but see, then just accepting that I am where I am and this is where I'm supposed to be, not feeling a way about that. Like it's just so many different emotions, that alone. And then while you also still trying to, you know, have a social life and have boyfriends and maybe start a business, like going to work, having your professional career, like it's just so many emotions that just come to you all at once post grad. That's just like, okay, I need to find some sense of direction. Like I need to figure out how to navigate this. And yeah, the first couple of years after post grad, you know, don't expect it to be a walk in the park. And if it's not a walk in the park, that is okay. Because I feel like I thought after like post grad, I thought that it would be okay. I'm gonna go get me a good paying job and I'm gonna start living my best.
Okay.
You know, the expectations of post grad and then actual post grad. That it's okay if you don't got it all figured out even after post grad. That's what I had to realize, and then started learning again once I realized, yeah, everything ain't set in stone post grad. You still got to learn. You still got to do this. You still got to do that. So yeah, post grad is the expectations, what you think it's gonna be. If it's not that, you still good.
Yeah, that's okay.
That was one of the things that I missed about college was the convenience of just everything already being there. Like your friends, your interests, your classes, your extracurriculars, your job, It's not like that.
It's not.
What were you gonna say though, Jay? I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you go ahead. But no, I'm gonna just tag on to say heavy on convenience, because I mean everything was in one place. You can step out where you living and everything you need is right there. It was so heavy on convenience. And it made it just made you check things off like your list so much easier. Like, oh, I need to grab some food. Okay, bet. Like I could grab something, or I can go to the little market, grocery store, get something. Like just it's not that easy no more. It's not. I don't even remember what I was gonna say, honestly, so I'm gonna just leave it at that. But yeah, that is definitely it's a little challenging now.
Well, how do y'all like? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Cam.
I was gonna say I'm just trying to think like, what did post grad really look like for me? Because it feels like I just been doing school.
But you made that decision too,
right.
know.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that was a big decision for sure.
Because I definitely turned down my master's program.
I remember that. How did you How did you come to that How did you come to that decision?
Well, it was actually pretty easy because of the money. Okay, I was like, look here, they wanted $2,000 cash up front. Like, it's like a deposit, I guess. And then on top of that, the degree was going to be like 50,000 without like scholarships or like stuff like that. So I was just a little nervous about it all. And it was in accounting, and I kind of didn't really have a very strong desire to go after accounting. I was like, okay, I love accounting, but is that really what I want to do? So I wasn't super confident in it. So I was like, you know what? Let's just actually try the real world. And on top of that, I was really burnt out from like online COVID schooling. I was like, I need a break. Like, this is not it. So it was a pretty easy decision, honestly. But it was also very hard in the fact that like I was always expected to continue on and like get all 3 degrees and do all this. And like, even though it was just very much so like, oh, Jada, yeah, like go, keep going. But I'm like, well, I don't want to go. So it was like that kind of battle, having to like tell people like, no, especially my family. Like, no, I don't want to continue my education in that way right now. Like, and then, you know, if they had anything to say, I'm like, are you taking on $50,000 in debt? Okay, so I don't want to hear it. So that was that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, you got McDonald's money? Okay. I remember I was gonna say now, but Desinae, when you were talking about like if you don't have it all together or you don't really know what to expect post grad, it's kind of like that feeling like when you go into college, like people tell you, oh, prepare for this, but you never truly know what you need and what to expect unless you're in there. Like, I promise you can get all the advice, and that's great. That's good. That's very helpful. But you're never gonna understand how it really feels until you start and get in there. And yeah, at that point, you don't really know what you're doing. You just going with the vibes, and that's pretty much how it is. Like after you graduate as well, you just going with it, and you get advice from people tell you what to expect and all that stuff, but you really don't know until you're in it how you're gonna feel and what you're gonna want for yourself. So having it figured out is a very, very, very high expectation. Like, it's okay if you don't, because it's hard out here. Just life is, it'd be a lot. It's a lot to navigate for sure. So do not feel bad if you don't have it all figured out. And yeah, honestly, I don't think we're ever gonna have it all figured out. So
no, it's overrated. Having it all figured out is overrated.
Okay.
Yeah, your ponytail is so cute. I had to say that.
Thank you. Thank you.
So
thank you. I need
cute.
to wash my hair, child. This is like 2 weeks.
Oh.
But I'm proud of me because normally I would just put my hair up in this little bun on top of my head that would just be knotted and matted for like 2 weeks on end. But this is detangled and we can deal with this. We can deal with it.
Okay, I know that's right. I'm excited to get my hair pressed. Ooh, I know we're a little off topic, but I'm getting my hair pressed on Wednesday.
Ooh, it's so.
You know what? This is a part of personal development though, because it is called self-care, and
it's important.
It's very important how you show up. Like, that's one thing I've been trying to like, I don't know, get a better grasp on, is like my hair, because I have to fit that into my busy schedule, and then I'm the only one doing my hair. So I'm like, okay, well, do you really have 8 hours to sit down and do braids every single like 2 weeks? Nah, not really. But we're gonna do it. So, and it's just like making sure I look presentable all the time, because I can't just be walking around looking busted. Like, I just can't anymore. So that is a big thing. But yeah, she's coming over on Wednesday to do my hair. Plus, my split ends are really bad. Like, the last time I did my hair, it was like those little tiny shards everywhere. I said, that's how you know you got the bad split ends.
Shout out to her for traveling, because what?
Honestly, I don't even know.
I was about to say, she pulling up.
I don't even know. Yeah, I don't know how far she is, but I mean, she said she's going to do a press, wash, blow dry, deep condition, cut the ends, all that for $85. I said, hey,
we like that,
baby girl. You could take my money. You could take it.
That was a word right there. Hold on.
Okay, but I did have the question though. Like, in your life, what examples have you had to like look to for personal development? Because I know for me, like with my mom or dad or like family members, I didn't really see a lot of like healthy personal development, being intentional about it. So I guess like a lot of the influences that I had were like people on YouTube, the books that I was reading, other people in college. So stuff like that I would like really look to intentionally, I guess, increase my personal growth, especially because I wanted to grow. So I did start my my self-growth journey at 17, and I really was in it. Like I made my first journal when I was in college and I was journaling the entire time. Just really trying to like, what is the word? Like, I guess, it's right here on the tip of the tongue. Record, I guess we're gonna settle for that word. Record
Document?
yes, there we go. Jay, your mom. I wanted to document everything that was happening. And so like my little ritual that I have for myself is I journal throughout the year. And then on the first of the year, I will go and buy a new journal. And I would also reread the last journal like it was a book. And I would just kind of like seeing how I was changing throughout the year, see if I was still repeating the same old stupid mistakes. And now I'm so excited to read this next journal because it is completely different than all the other ones. Like all the other ones, it was the same story. Same story. I kept reading the same story. And I'm like, man, I need to get out of this cycle. But this one, I can tell it's completely different. Like majority of the other ones, they was talking about men and how I was just going through roller coasters and then I would be on and off with God. And then like you could tell by the different titles. And I was just like falling into things with men so quick. It was ridiculous. But this one, it barely has anything about men. Like it's all God. Like it's just awesome. Like I could just tell the difference in the journal. So I'm like, I'm so excited to read this one again. So yes.
Yeah.
Dang, that sounds like such a good idea. Like how, okay. So you said you title it. But I want to know how you set this up because the fact that you was able to catch your cycle, the same cycle that you were going through that journal, is really what makes me feel like maybe I need to see, if there are places in my life where I feel like I'm not progressing, I can start to see why that is. I can start to see my own patterns.
Well, the thing is that like I would just write. So I didn't pressure myself to write every day because at first when I started journaling, I was trying to, but I didn't feel authentic. So I just basically settled for whenever I feel the urge to, like if I feel like really like strong emotions, whether it was happy, sad, angry, or whatever, I would basically sit down and write it. And then as time went on, it kind of became like a necessity for me. So whenever I felt some type of way, I'm like, I just need a journal so I can get this out. And it would really make me feel a lot better. And so I would sit down, I would just write whenever I felt like it, or whenever like a super big moment in my life happened to document it. And then I would just I would write the journal entry first and then go back and title it afterwards. And when I would just flip through, I could just tell like different months or seasons just based on the titles. I would try to make the titles like something catchy or like something that was like that summed up what I was talking about really nice, just so I can like have those hot spots to look back on. So yeah.
I love that.
Interesting. I've been wanting to journal more recently too. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
How would you journal, Cam?
That reminds me. Oh, dang. You keep talking.
It reminds you of what?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Get that thought out, girl.
Say real quick. I was saying that reminds me of the gratitude box that I was telling y'all. And like Desinae, that kind of reminds me. Because as you were saying it, I'm like, dang, like that would be cool too. Because then you could like it would be much easier to go through everything. But I think I'm going to see like how consistent I am, like how this year goes with it. And then if I could switch it over to like a journal. And I like, not pressuring yourself to write in it because I know I'd be like, okay, I got to do it every Sunday. But if you miss it, like, that's okay. So I like that. And it's been really nice just like writing it out. Even I'm excited to go back and look at it. But also I'm like, wow, like this is nice. Just reflecting, about that stuff. So might have to take that because that's really nice.
And you know what? We actually have a listener who started a gratitude box too. They told me.
What?
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to hear it.
Mm-hmm. But how would I journal? Well, first to answer the question that you had asked us about, like, what examples do we have of like growth and development in our lives? I feel like for me, it would probably be my mom, but on the aspects of like spiritual development, she's always been the person who's like reading books and constantly just studying her Bible and just in her word and just trying to figure out ways to like grow in faith and grow spiritually. So I feel like when I look for examples of that, I always like look at her. And I guess too, in a sense, personal development or just like in general, like all around growth. But I would probably say that it's like examples from like peers or, when you get around people and you start to have conversations, they tell you about some of the stuff that they've been getting into and reading or like things that people post on their stories. I follow a couple people who like will post journaling prompts. I follow people who will like post every Sunday, like they'll post things that they heard about in a sermon, or they'll post about just different things that they've read, came across, and just sharing stuff that's helpful. And then I like to follow a lot of pages that kind of like help you to be more reflective. Like one of the pages that I follow, well, I can't remember the Instagram right now. I literally just posted it on my story today, and it was talking about like loving yourself, remembering that there's love around you, and that, you don't always have to live an existence where you feel at war with yourself or like unhappy with yourself. So pages like that, where it just causes me to like be like introspective and really reflective, are things that I think help kind of like foster growth. But how would I journal? The problem with journaling in me is like I don't know if I like writing, period. Like, I don't know where else the sentence was gonna go. I don't know where else the sentence was gonna go. I have tried journaling, and I feel like in a way trying to journal every day didn't feel authentic to me. It just felt like, okay, I have to do it, I have to check it off my list because I said I was gonna try and do this. But I like the ability of being able to go back and look at what you wrote, because I found a prayer journal that I had started and filled for 2 months back in 2019. And like looking at everything that I was saying, I could see how you were talking about, Jada, looking at your old journals, there were cycles, and how some of it is probably like still similar to things that I want for myself now. But then I also see where things that like I was worried about and was praying about have happened. And I'm like, I'm on the other side of this looking back at this, and there's like this sense of like satisfaction, and just like, I'm proud of myself. Like I did that, and God came through and was faithful in everything that I had been asking for in those journals. So I mean, that's what I love to go back and look at. So I'm like, maybe I should just like kind of bite the bullet and just go ahead and journal, but maybe like combine the idea of journaling and a gratitude box, where it's just like, if something happened on that day and I feel like I want to write about it, it don't have to be nothing. No, I think it's another thing too. Like, I feel like it had to be like a long, like fill out a page type thing. Like maybe I should just like write something down that kind of like sums up how I feel in that moment, however much or however little that is, and then drop it into my box and then come back to it at the end of the year. Because I really like being able to look back and say, you know what, okay, I overcame these areas. I'm still working on this area. I made growth in this area. It's like a little, like a checkpoint kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, that's good.
Y'all giving me some good ideas. What?
Yeah, I think definitely not pressuring yourself to write in it, because before, like, I would say, like, I'm not like a journaling type. Like, I'm not gonna sit like, oh, I gotta write in my journal tonight. Like, I know me, I'm not, but seeing this and like how this has been for me, like I said, I don't be doing it. I didn't do it this Sunday, I gotta do it tonight. And I don't, it's not as like on this day I have to do it, but at this point, like, I like to do it. So when I forget, I'm like, okay, like, I have to do it tonight because I want to write. And so if you give yourself that grace, it'll be easier to do, because again, what you got to write in it for every day for? Like, it's not, like I said, it's not life or death. So it's going to be okay. But no, yeah, there's no, if you have to, that's good too. But if not, that's fine. Just, get it out. I know sometimes just talking to friends about stuff would just be my journal session. I guess that kind of goes into my answer. What Jada was asking, like, where do we, what was the exact, it doesn't matter because I know how I want to answer it. But I think who I would really pull that from was, because I was thinking like, okay, people around my age, think about family, blah, friends. And I would agree with Cam too. Like, it would be more of like the people I surround myself with, and how we're growing, and how we go through certain things. And, my friend group, kind of ranges between different ages. So, and just different backgrounds, different life paths. And so we can definitely give each other different perspectives. I mean, even just here, it's a reflection of that. And so, yeah, a lot of the people, my friends, we just be going through stuff together, and having that safe space has been really, really, I've been really grateful for that. Just being able to talk and go to your friends about whatever, and then feeling comfortable doing the same with me. That's been really nice. And so, yeah, surrounding myself with people who are growing and want to learn and want to develop has helped me do the same. And that's another thing that, this is going to the last episode too. It's just about being intentional about the people who I do surround myself with. And yeah, because I didn't want to admit it, but the people who you surround yourself with really do impact like your day to day, how you think, how you talk, how you move, what you do, and all that kind of stuff. And so, yeah, you have, like, if you're not serious about the people that you're surrounding yourself with, then there's no way that you're serious about like your growth and how you want to be and how you want to carry yourself and grow and all that kind of stuff, because it's kind of weird. Like the people you surround yourself with, like, oh, like I'm kind of doing this thing that, my friend does. And like 9 times out of 10, it's a good thing. Like if, like one of your friends has a saying and you catch yourself saying it, like, oh, okay, I see you in my day. but also like, it could go the other way. Like, if you have a friend in your life that, is just really like negative energy towards you and you feel yourself exuding that or viewing things that way more than you used to, it's like, dang, like, why am I feeling this way? Why do I do this? Where is this coming from? And not all the time that's where it stems from. It could be from other factors, but sometimes it is, the people that or a person that, you're around. So yeah, definitely the people around me have, helped me grow and just get through things. And yeah, I feel like because we're all at the same stage, definitely like my family, mom, aunt, grandparents, dad, uncles, they've helped like with the big advice, the big things you need to know. But yeah, my close friends and stuff, they've been really helpful as far as like navigating these 20 somethings. Okay?
And shout out to your mom too. I seen that she was like getting recognized for stuff.
Oh yeah, she got a woman. It's funny because I always make fun. You know how you tell your parents you like win something, they get the name all wrong. I'm finna do that, but it's like it was like the Woman Change Maker Award because she's part of the National Action Network Los Angeles chapter, and so they had a Women's Day luncheon. It was their 10th annual one this past weekend, and I was able. That's what I was saying. Some of my family came down, so it was really nice just spending that time with them. And I was really intentional about it too. Like I'm like, I know I'm going to LA, but I'm not gonna be like, hey, I'm out here, friends, because I'm like, no, I really want to like spend time with my family. Like I miss my family. And so it was really nice. And I seen like, how being intentional about that, it was able to come into fruition. And like just because I didn't hit up everyone like, hey, I'm in LA this time, like it wasn't anything dire, like nobody. I'd be dramatic. So I'm like, dang, if I don't tell my friends, or if I don't hang out with my friends this time, they gonna think I don't come to nothing. And it's like, bro, like, relax. Because it was definitely not that deep. And so yeah, but yeah, she did. And she'll probably listen to this. So shout out to you, mama. But
yeah, congrats to her.
Yeah, that's inspirational. That is.
Yeah, it was a great luncheon. Highly recommend. If there's a National Action Network in your area, see what they got going on, if there's any events, because me and her were talking about it too. Like they need a lot of youth in their, programs, because a lot of people are older and it's like, okay, that's cool, but we bring a lot of good ideas and a lot of different platforms and even technologies and stuff that can help out a lot. So if y'all or if anyone who's listening is interested in just, getting involved in something, you can look into that, because
that even goes into personal development too. Like outside of college, joining these organizations and joining like different clubs and things like that really do also help with pushing your growth and pushing you to strive to be a better person. And even just if you want to get recognized, like, start getting into that mode. And so I think that that's actually really, really cool that your mom is a part of a group like that, because one, it just gives you a great network that you can pull from. And also, if you ever really like need anything, like there's so many different resources that are attached to organizations like that. So yeah, having that outside of college and just like continue learning, continue greatness is just like, yeah, that's awesome. And that actually was inspiring for me too, because I'm like, my life is just beginning. Like I can do so much.
Yes.
I can do
Yes,
so much.
definitely.
So yeah, shout out to her.
Yeah. I'm not even gonna get on my soapbox right now because I can rant all day. But just a little spiel from the luncheon. They also had a keynote speaker, and y'all, and I'm gonna say, because she was being transparent, she was like, I want to be transparent so people can know, how I got here, and if they can relate, that they can do it too. And so I'm gonna share her story, because not her whole story, because she was a keynote, so it was a little long. But no, so basically, just I'm gonna get right into it. Trigger warning. She said how she grew up. Her mom was a crack addict, and her dad was abusive to her mother. And so that's how she grew up. She was like rock bottom. She had to take care of herself, her sister, her family, da da da. And now she's keynote speaker at the luncheon. She's going to USC Law School. She's working with the DA of the city, and just seeing, and she said she was 46. She has 2 kids, loving husband, like all this stuff. And it was just really nice to see, like, that no matter another thing she said, she was like, I beat all of the statistics. No matter how she grew up, no matter what she went through, she's still able to do the thing that she wanted to do and be great in it and pursue and do all that stuff. So it was very, very, very motivational. And I'm like, yeah. So I'm like, y'all need to hear that too, because I wasn't there. So I want to let y'all know that wherever you start out, that's not your story. No matter what people tell you, you can do whatever you put your mind to. Honestly, truly.
Yeah, no matter the
Ooh,
age, you can start whenever.
that right there too.
Facts.
And then I guess going back to Jada's question, like for me, I feel like, the urge to develop myself it was more so internal, because I don't feel like I came up with a lot of people who like display, any kind of intentional form of personal development. Um, there would be certain things in my environment that I would realize that, I kind of didn't want, to be associated with, or that I, kind of didn't want to become in the future type of thing. And then I would kind of tell myself like, okay, well, if you don't want to, if you don't want to end up like, in such a way, you need to do certain things. And I feel like for one, it was, coming up without money. So that was just like something where that experience is what kind of pushed me to want to, be really successful professionally, go into whatever industry it is that I'm going into, and kind of learn that way, go to college, do all those type of things. So for professional development, I feel like that really just came from, just the personal experience to being without. I just knew that once I got grown, I just didn't want to be without. It was as simple as that. And then like personally, I feel like pain is what kind of drove me to like realize certain stuff that I need to like figure out. So like, like example would be like my relationship with my parents. Whenever I would just feel myself getting like too emotional about like certain stuff, I would just be like, dang, I don't want to feel like this. So how do I not feel like this? And then I had to start looking for answers. So like after college, I would say like when I started my self-development journey, it was really because I was in like a really bad spot. Like emotionally, I was just like really down bad. And there was like one day where I sat in my room from like night till dark, no TV, no nothing, literally just watching the colors of the room change and just thinking to myself like, okay, I just got to like digest all of this, and then I need to start looking for some answers. And like there was nobody to really go to for that. And so literally that's when like I just started reading books, because I felt like that was the only way for me to like learn stuff about myself while I couldn't afford to go to therapy. So it was definitely, yeah, it's internal for me, because I've never really seen anybody really like work on themselves. I've seen certain things in like my family members that I, wasn't not necessarily in favor of. So I would just really start looking into like, okay, how do I not become this? It was more so really, yeah, it really just comes from like the things that I know I don't want to be like, the things I know I don't want to be associated with. How do I not become that? And then that's just kind of how everything started. Or like, how do I not feel this way? How do I really truly get past this hurt? Like, it was like that. It was really like being that down bad is what really makes you look for the answer, because it's hard to like do inner work. Like, everybody don't want to put in that work, don't want to put in that real inner work. And it's not until you get to a point to where you feel like, damn, I do not want to feel like this ever. I don't want to feel like this anymore. And then you're finding like, okay, what am I going to do? I feel like that's like the only thing that pushes people to go to like therapy. Because in our community, that's not like, well, it's starting to become more popular, but like a couple years ago, people would say therapy is for crazy people and blah blah blah. But it's really not until you get to a point where you feel like you really need it that you go searching for that. And so for me, that's just kind of how it was. I just had to go searching for the answers. And now I'm here on this journey. So glad that I'm on this journey, because I definitely used to be like a different person. And I will say, like, people would tell me certain things about myself, or I would notice certain things about myself, like Jay was saying, about like the people you surround yourself with, and like, thinking negatively and like being negative all the time, or viewing stuff a certain way when you didn't view it like that at first, and stuff like that. And I would think about stuff like that too. Like, dang, like I didn't used to be like that, or dang, I don't want to be this negative person, or dang, I don't want to be the type of person that's just sitting up gossiping. I don't want to be the type of person who don't really have nothing else to talk about except gossip, and stuff like that. And so it was really just the stuff that I didn't want. And I'm like, I know I don't want this. Like, I don't know exactly what it is that I want, but I know I don't want this. So how do I not have this? And I feel like going through the journey, of not wanting certain things is actually teaching me what I do want. How do I want to be? What do I think? Like, what is my definition of self-development? What is my definition of success? And how do I get there, type of thing. So yeah, it was definitely more internal for me.
And I can really relate to you on a lot of those things, Desinae, because this is honestly how like Green Line Planner even came about. Like, I seen how, I spoke about it before, about how my mom wasn't that good with money. And I knew like I did not want to be that way. I wanted to avoid the mistakes that she was making. She wasn't really that good on commitment either. And so I like would identify those things, and then identify how I actually am a reflection of that as well. And I would try to like change certain things about myself, and like you said, go find those answers based off of like an anti-example. And so it really was like the big motivating drive. And I remember being in like second grade saying, okay, like if you don't want to be that, and if you don't want your kids to have the life that you're living right now, like it starts now. You need to get the good grades now, go to college, get a good job. Like I set the whole life up so that I could basically avoid being in the same spot and having my kids be in the same spot that I was when I was growing up. So having that anti-example, honestly, majority of the time is really like a huge, huge motivator if you think about it in that way. Because sometimes people can let it bring them down and they feel stuck. But I'm fortunate. I'm grateful for us to have that perspective that we had and say like, okay, I see this and I know I don't want to be that. And then really just also like you said, like not having the access. Well, I had access to therapy, shout out to UCSD, but those appointments far and few between, like really, really hard to get. And especially somebody that I felt like was going to understand me. So that's how I turned to self-help books. That's how I got into reading a lot, was because I picked up one book and that was it. I was like, wow, like I actually feel like I'm, helping myself heal. And so I really started with that. And that's also the reason why Desinae and I started Better Reading Books, because we seen how that helped us and how it can be like a good starting point for a healing journey and just like a self-growth journey in general. And even like now that I have done the work, I feel like I deserve somebody that is open and has done the work too. And that's one thing that I've been battling with, because like like before I would be way too like like I guess making excuses for people. I'm like, oh well, like it's hard to do that, and I can't expect everybody to be me. No, like if you can do it and you thought that way and you did it, like you deserve somebody that is basically equally yoked and on the same level as you. Like, it does take a specific type of mindset and perspective on life in order to, like Desinae was saying, actually have those things and like do the inner work and not be afraid to do it and like actually seek after that personal development. So yeah, like darn right, I want somebody that actually has that going for themselves. And that's one of the big things I'm looking for now, is just like, how are you self-reflective? Are you self-aware? Do you have emotional intelligence? Like where are you intentionally seeking after that personal growth? And because that's a huge part of my life. It's always has been. And I would need somebody that's on the same path. I can't have anybody that's stagnant and just too comfortable. Like I need you to always be like reflecting on yourself and seeing how can we get better, even just like personally, individually, so that then together we can do that. And I have a safe space and I have confidence in the fact that we can do that together and continue to grow. So yeah, that was a huge thing. And journaling, what pushed me to that too was, I know Jay, I think you said like talking to people was how you really like get it out. For me, the only person I would really talk to about stuff like that deeply was my best friend, but we had very two different childhoods growing up. So I didn't feel like she could really relate to a lot of the things that I was dealing with and going through. So I felt like, I had to really just deal with it on my own. I feel like I couldn't talk to people like my family because, they're the ones that's causing a lot of the trauma that I'm experiencing. So journaling was really the way. It was the way that I was able to console myself really, and let those emotions out without it being mishandled. So I felt like it was a really good release for that. So all the things that have been set up for personal development and self-growth, like strong reasons behind them, definitely a lot of story behind it. And like, I don't regret anything. Like I don't take anything for granted, because I would not be the person I am today. I would not be so self-aware, so understanding of other people as well, if I didn't start doing that inner work. And so that truly just shows how like self-love really needs to come first before you can start like dabbling into love with anybody else. Because yeah, you need to know what you're looking for. You need to know exactly what you want. You need to know like all these things before you go out and start looking for that type of stuff. And yeah, just like going on this self-growth journey, like not talking to any men, because that was huge. Okay. That was a huge thing that was real toxic in my head. They were to me like a way to escape as well. Weed was a way for me to escape. And so I had to like replace those things because they were outlets that weren't actually benefiting me. So I had to realize that. And so that's another thing. If you are, be self-reflective about the outlets that you're going to, and be self-reflective about whether or not they are toxic or actually helping you. And so, yeah, y'all, stuff gets deep with personal development.
I also think personal development too helps you understand who you are. Because I mean, like thinking about my time in college, like that was a time where I really started to feel like I was coming into myself. And growing up in the way that I grew up, my house was like very sheltered. Not like super sheltered, but my parents, they were making sure that me and my brother had like boundaries for what we could engage with, participate in, who we could be around. And so going to college was like my first time just being like away from those standards and expectations. And then almost in like a perfectionistic way, I felt like there was a lot of pressure on me to be this type of person. So I was kind of allowed to like experience like what it's like to not be that person and just kind of like be whoever it was that I wanted to be. But I realized like somewhere in the middle of all that, I was like, who am I? Like, I don't even know who I am. And so again, shout out to UCSD with the therapy, because I actually was going to therapy very heavily the last 2 years that I was in school. And I remember my very last appointment right before I graduated, I was like, started crying because I was like, what am I going to do without therapy? Like, who am I going to talk to? Like, I was so vulnerable with somebody for like the first time about so many different things. And it was just like, who am I going to talk to? And I have to go back home. And it's like another thing about moving home after you've been away for 4 years. And it's like, I've already been used to just me being an independent adult. How does me coming home change that? And like, what is that going to change in me? But honestly, I think that was where, like, what how Desinae was saying, like, I really resonated how you're saying the work was internal for you. It started internally because it was like you didn't have access to therapy anymore. And it was like, what else do I do? And you started reading. And for me, I don't know what it was that I started doing. What I think it was like the end of a friendship. It was like an end of a friendship in college, and it was a real nasty fallout. But after I had moved home 2 years after our friendship ended, she reached out saying that she wanted to talk. And I wasn't in a place to talk, so I never followed up with her. But it was something about that made me reflect on that friendship and like reflect on my role in it and like what happened, and not to shift blame and accept like the harm that she caused me and say it was my fault, but accept like, okay, what did I do and what are the things about me that are like that weren't okay, you know what I mean? I think that's where the reflection started. And I realized like there are a lot of patterns in my life from like relationships that I've watched, from family members, relationships that I had with friends, you know, just different things. And I'm like, okay, I'm coming to this place where I'm realizing all of it and I'm unlearning it. And now I'm getting to choose what I want to do differently. And that felt like so empowering. And it felt like I had control. And it was nice for me to come to these realizations without having to be in therapy. And it also felt like I seen this tweet recently that was saying that like being in your mid-20s, you finally feel like your frontal lobe is fully developed. Like things just start clicking. Wow. Yeah. It was like the frontal lobe was just hitting different. I just felt like more mature. It was something about me turning like 24, 25, that time window. It just felt like things were clicking. I had a clear sense of who I was and who I wanted to be and how to operate and move in that. And then that's when I started to kind of just tap into like more of the self-help aspect. Still wasn't reading any books, but just a lot of like sitting with myself and thinking. Started listening to podcasts around that time. I think that was one of the outlets too that were really helpful for me too. So I don't know. Personal growth though, it can be a little scary. I think for me it was definitely scary at first. When it all was just kind of like having all these realizations and not knowing what to do with them. And then realizing like all I had to do was just make different decisions that, again, go with what I wanted. You know, if there was an anti-example in front of me and I didn't want to be that person anymore, or I didn't like that trait about myself, or I seen it in somebody else, you know, then it's just go the opposite direction and walk in something that, you know, you identify with, walk in something that represents you. And yeah.
Well, I love how you said that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well said.
Thanks,
Right, you ate that.
Chewed, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, I was just, as you was talking to, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go back and listen to that.
Honestly, the way that we be needing these episodes just as much as y'all do, listen, we go back and listen because it really means a lot. And that is part of the personal development as well. It's just like hearing yourself and hearing the way that you speak, and then hearing the things that you're speaking about, and even like how deep you're going. It really just kind of like all ties into one thing. And you're like, wow, like this is a self-reflective moment to even just be listening back to myself about certain things that I'm talking about. So yeah, y'all, listen. Even if y'all gotta record yourselves, like if you don't like to write, like record something, and or just like post things on YouTube on private mode, like record little short snippets of you on TikTok and post it privately. Like there's different ways that you can definitely do this, like voice memos. Like come on, like there's so many different ways. It doesn't have to be journaling. You can definitely, even if you don't like writing itself, like you can transcribe what you're speaking about, and then go back and read it. So there's a lot of options, but I did want to go to therapy. I really do, because I feel like I've always been like hyper independent, and I've always felt like I can just do it by myself. I could do it alone. But like, I actually do want to sit down with somebody outside of myself. I feel like I've done a lot of inner work. I've done a lot of self-reflection, but I need somebody outside of myself to kind of help me and redirect like where I'm steering this whole personal development boat, because sometimes, I can get lost. I can definitely like go down a rabbit hole with it all. And so having that like structure as well, I think would also be really nice. And just to be able to, talk to somebody else and feel like they're helping me, feel like they can actually understand what I'm going through. So I do want to do that. And part of another self-development thing that I'm doing this Thursday, I took off of work, and y'all know I don't take off work. Okay, look, unless it's a trip, I'm not taking off work. So I'm taking off the day because I scheduled this deliverance session with a church in Florida. And we're going through deliverance. And basically what deliverance is really is just like delivering yourself from a lot of like the spirits or past things that you've been through. And so it's really a Christian based thing. And I know a lot of people have like different views on it and stuff like that, but it is biblical. It is in the Bible. So, if you want to just check scripture, you can check scripture. But but I scheduled that, and they said 10:30, and they're actually like really in high demand. So when they said 10:30, I said, oh, I got to work on that day. I said, you know what? It don't matter. I'm taking off because I'm going to actually, invest into myself. And so yeah, that felt good too, to really like take time off work to do something that was important to me, and to do something that I felt like was going to help me feel even more free and free me from like different things that have been passed down through generations and stuff like that. So I'm definitely really excited for this. And I was at first, me being me, I was like, I could just take a half day. No, I'm like, Jada, just take the whole day off, because you don't even know how you're going to be feeling afterwards. You might just want to be sitting with yourself. You might just want to be reflecting. You don't want to have to go back to work and deal with phone calls. Like, so I definitely like, am like, big ups to you, Jada. You're growing. So yeah, I'm excited about that, y'all.
So what does that all like entail?
Okay, so I didn't want to really like scare the listeners, but really it can be as far as like being very similar to like an exorcism. And I know that's kind of like a little like, ooh, because like what y'all see on movies and stuff, but it's real. Like you have to think about like everything that happens in the natural world has a spiritual connection to it and a spiritual reflection. So just knowing that like you can invite certain things into you, even like I hate to use this example, but like there's a spirit of like perversion, there's a spirit of anger, spirit of shame, like spirits like that can be inside of you that feel like a stronghold, and you feel like you can't get rid of it yourself. Basically it's like a prayer thing, and then they just really use like the name of Jesus to like bring those things out of you, and you just feel really free. And most times with deliverance, you have like a physical manifestation of it. So sometimes, yes, the spirits can be speaking through you, but as them, and like speaking to the people that's like doing the deliverance and saying like, no, like she's mine type of thing. Like it really is a little scary. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. It is very intense. But I mean, I know that God delivered me from smoking weed because I was having a major cough attack when I was throwing everything away. And that was one of the signs. So like after that, I really didn't have a desire for real. So it was that thing that I knew was like true deliverance. So sometimes you can be coughing, throwing up, or like, I don't know, burping, farting. Like there's like different ways that it can come out. But yeah, so I'm just really like a little nervous about it, but at the same time, I'm excited because afterwards I know that I'm going to be truly like free from those things. So I had to really get deep with myself, and this was a part of some self-deliverance. Oh, it's deep in there. I'm not going to get it. But basically before, like in order to have this session, they had me write down 3 different lists. One was of all my sins and like repent of them. One was a list of everybody that needed to forgive me, and then a list of everybody that I needed to forgive. So just like writing out those 3 lists, period, had me like already going through some self-deliverance, because I was just like, man, like it just made me feel a little bit better, like with certain things. I'm like, I'm getting it all out, like even secrets that nobody really knows, like I'm writing it all down on a piece of paper, and like it's about to be addressed on Thursday. So it just feels really, really good to have forgiven those people, like forgiving everybody in my past life, and just really like having the courage to identify the things and the people that need to forgive me. That one was really big because, I'm over here like, I'm good, I'm perfect. Like, no, you're not. Like there's definitely some times where you've been the villain in the story, and you need to put that down, and you need to, really be real with yourself. So having those 3 lists was amazing. And then they had me fill out like this questionnaire and like do like a little consent form. And so it's real. And shout out to Soft Life Through Christ, because that's their pastor that I'm basically going to. So they were speaking about it, and that's how I even discovered what deliverance was. And so I was going to their Bible studies every Sunday, hearing them speak about it. And so I just decided to go ahead and set up a session with them, because I felt like there was a lot of things that were really like a stronghold on me from my past life that I needed like extra assistance with. So yeah, shout out to them. It's called Rest Ministries. You can find them on Instagram, and they're amazing. They speak the truth, y'all. The truth. No fluff.
That's gonna be good though. I feel like that's gonna be real, like you said, freeing. You walking away from knowing that you put everything on paper. There's nothing that you trying to like hide, keep secrets, feeling ashamed of.
Right.
You walking away from knowing you totally free from all that.
Just wiping my hands clean. Yes, I already got baptized, and I'm glad that I got baptized before it as well. So it's just like everything's happening in the right order, I feel like. So yeah, I'm really, really excited about that. Really excited about it.
That's just a big leap. Growing and growing. Okay.
Thanks, y'all. Thanks. And it is in the Bible too. And they say like casting out demons, like that's what they're talking about. We all got our demons, y'all. So
very much
we all do.
I believe that. And I guess I would also like to go to therapy still. I definitely actually still want to go to therapy. I have done like a lot of self-reflection. I feel like I've identified a lot of my issues, but that's just one piece of the pie. So identifying them was one thing, being self-reflective, going through whatever I went through, and then realizing, I don't want to go through this anymore. And then realizing that I need therapy. That was something that was like, okay, I did that on my own. But then when it comes to, okay, how do I work through these feelings though? How do I truly let it go? That's like that's what I need help with. Because I will say, like example, like with my parents, there are like, things from our past that like, that used to make me angry because I was so hurt by it. And then like, I feel like over time I've gained an understanding like of my parents and why they did what they did, why they are who they are. They can only teach us as much as they know. And they learned everything from their parents. And quite frankly, for the Black community, every generation before us had it harder and harder. So every generation before us knows less and less. You know what I'm saying? So, you know better, you do better. And they didn't know better. And I understand that. I feel like I can pinpoint exactly why they did everything that they did. And in the beginning, I thought that, understanding something meant that you can come to peace with it. Like once you got understanding, you understand. But I understand, but then it still hurts, So it's like, that's when I really realized like, okay, yeah, you've been doing all of this work. And I'm sure that you thought that once you came to this understanding that everything will be fine, everything will be good now, you should be straight once you understand. But that's not how it was. And so that's why, I really do think that therapy is going to be beneficial, because then they really know how people work through these certain issues that they have. And so that'll just be the next piece of the pie for me, is going to therapy.
That actually brings up like a good topic. So like, what do y'all see for yourselves like in the future with how you're going to continue with your personal development?
That is a good question.
Yeah,
I do see myself probably starting therapy again, because like Desinae said, I've been thinking about it, and I had a friend who was talking to me about it too, as she was starting. And I like the challenge that I get when I'm, open and vulnerable with a therapist. And that's another thing too. It's like that challenge of vulnerability. Sometimes it's just like, I don't really want to get into this right now, but it's like, no, we're going to get into it. We're going to get real into it. We're going to get deep into it. So I see myself starting that back up. And I don't know, I still want to continue to be like tapped into the books that I read, the podcasts that I listen to, the sermons that I watch and different things. But I think for me, the area that I want to see myself continuing is growing professionally after I leave school. Because again, I'm back in this space of convenience where everything is here for me, like mentors and opportunities and all that. But when I leave this space and I go back across the country where I don't have a network of people in dentistry really at all, how am I going to continue to grow myself professionally and then in that way also personally, is what I'm interested to see how that goes. But I mean, that it's kind of also easy in a sense because there are like continuing education courses that we do take, and you can kind of take whatever you want just depending on your interests. So you always continue to grow in the directions and the areas you want to. But I think my challenge will probably be joining organizations because that's something I want to do. Once I found myself settled somewhere, I do want to be really involved in community in the way that I was in college, because that's one of the things that I do miss, and the aspects of growth that I kind of see like is not like weakening in my life, but it's not as strong as it used to be. So I think that's somewhere that I see myself going.
I know
I would like to be in the more community too. I feel like when I was in college, I kind of fumbled the bag on that part. I didn't really put myself out there as much as I should have. So I do in a way feel like I lack community. Which is why I'm also so glad that I now have you guys. But I definitely feel like, yeah, I want to put myself out there more, join organizations, go to therapy for, my personal stuff, and even organizations for my professional development as well. And kind of just get into, that community. And so, yeah.
Yeah, girl, that's a good question. Just thinking like in the future, like I don't know. But I guess what I would want for myself, yeah, definitely getting or just because right now I'm kind of in a space trying to figure out what I even want for myself or what I like, what works for me. So definitely continuing that journey and not basing it off, what somebody else may want or think is best for me, et cetera, et cetera. So, putting myself first, definitely being selfish, because later down the line, the way that I want my life to go, it's not going to be too much time for that, like how I have now. And so definitely being selfish about, how I want the trajectory of my life to go and how I want the relationships in my life to be when it comes to family and friends, how I want to build those, being more intentional about that, and just making time for the things that I know like benefit me emotionally and give me like, a better mood. I'm pretty far from the mic. Let me get closer. But yeah, so yeah, exactly how I'm not sure. I know definitely I think it would be nice to have like therapy and church in the routine more often for me, when that is a plan. Because yeah, I mean, I've never done therapy, but just from what I hear about it, I know it can be very helpful because I can't figure everything on my own, and I can't expect my friends and my family to help me figure out everything on my own. Like there's literally professionals who do this and know how to navigate our minds. So, and yeah, just I would like to be more intentional about how I handle my emotions and yeah, just period. How I handle my emotions, especially now I feel like definitely within the past few years I've gotten a lot more emotional, whether it be sad, upset, and my feelings, happy, whatever. The emotions are just a little bit more intense now. And I mean like that's fine with me because I'm really big on encouraging people to feel your emotions and sit with them and don't dismiss them and all that, because I mean, I just feel like that's one of the greatest ways how we can see that we're human and that, something's working. And so, yeah, but definitely figuring out how to navigate them and deal with them. And yeah, I mean, I can't ramble because it's really like just that wondering, figuring out what works for me. And so yeah, when I say definitely being spending more time with my family and friends and just talking and definitely listening as well. Heavy on like listening, because I've noticed lately too that I learned so much by just hearing what people have to say and go through and stuff. So that's been really helpful. But yeah, I want to be able to, continue this path of learning and growing. And I mentioned yesterday or the other day, like, just because we do one thing or we have this habit that we're always about, like it can change. Like at the moment you want it to change, you can change it just like that. Like nobody's going to check you on it. We have that control over ourselves and what we do. And like I know before, like I wasn't, I say, oh, I'm not a gym person. And I said, okay, I think I want to become a gym person, and did. Like, it's really like just, making that choice for yourself and realizing that, again, you can do anything that you put your mind to. And if you really want to do it, you'll do it. Like the excuses, they're there, they linger, but you got to get over that, because the excuses be weak half of the time. Like they don't, it's like, all right, okay, sure. But yeah, so definitely realizing that if there's a change that needs to be made in order to better myself and be better in the future for the future me that I want to be, I can get it done. I have control over that. It's definitely easier said than done. Like it's not just, oh, okay, I'm gonna change today, but definitely doing that and being open to it and knowing that I have that choice for myself. Like, so yeah, but I'm still learning and figuring out what's what. And I feel like it's going to be like that, for a long
Honestly,
time.
for the
I
rest
think
of
it's,
your life.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I think it's interesting too how, people will say like at a certain point, you realize that, the older people in your life, your parents, your grandparents, your aunts, uncles, older cousins, whatever, you realize that they're literally just going through the motions and learning like you are. Like, yeah, they have more experience at this life thing that you do because they have more years on you and, all that other stuff. But it's just really, I don't know if the word would be refreshing, but it's just really eye-opening to see like, wow, like you're just like a human being like me. Like you're going through this day, you don't know what to expect. You're just going with it too. And so it's really just, yeah, it was really an eye-opening moment for me where I was like, wow, like you're really just like human too. So yeah, but
Yeah, that
all
opens up
that
more
to
grace for
say,
people too.
just looking forward to that journey. But yeah, it definitely does open a lot of grace for yourself and just how you view others.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Yeah, I would say for me, one of the major things that I want to continue working on is forgiveness, because I hold on to a lot and it hardened my heart for a long time. Um, and I'm the type of person, once you are like a certain perception in my head, it's hard to change that for me. So I want to be able to give more grace to other people and also to myself, because unforgiveness is really not a good thing at all. And it just really like keeps you stuck in that place. And then you don't realize how people can change, and personal development is for you to grow and to change. And so I have to understand that people have the right to change, and and that it's a very possible thing. So if you knew them in that life, well, they could be somebody totally different tomorrow. So I have to realize that as well and really open up myself to more forgiveness. Also just being more decisive about the certain things that I want. And I say I've really grown a lot with like being able to voice what I want, but being decisive about it, it takes a long time to get to like that like confidence in what I want to do. And so even with just like my professional route and like what I'm doing with my life, like I'm doing this certification for event planning and stuff like that, but just being able to be in this crossroads of, okay, I don't want to be at my current job anymore. Where do I want to go? Like I have to, I don't know. I just really want to find more stability in that and like more of a direction. So that is a major thing that like I really want to grow in. And then also just knowing that once I do, go after it like all the way and put your full self in it, because I am splitting myself up between a lot of things. And so I guess like being able to like balance that and knowing like how to put my full self into everything. I'm just still trying to navigate all of that. So that's, one of the main things that I want to really work on and start praying about more. So yeah, y'all, we got some good stuff. Like, so I'm really proud of all of us. Honestly, I really am, because we've grown so much, even just from the first time that we were sitting down having these conversations off pod and then turning it into a podcast and just seeing how we've grown since these, 4 episodes. We are now on episode 5, and this is half of a season. Okay.
Yes.
So
we're professionals now.
We are. We in deep.
Okay, we in this for real.
For real. So I'm really proud of all y'all.
Yeah. Shout out to us for consistency. Okay. And showing up, like actually like showing up and being. Cause I was definitely tired today, but I'm like, all right, I know this podcast is gonna wake me up, and did per usual. So yeah, but it's just nice, like that we all come to this space, not just okay, I'm here now, I'm here, but we deliver. So happy about that.
I get a nice word every time.
Okay.
Every single time.
Yeah. That's crazy though. This gonna have to be another episode. But just the whole like forgiveness thing. Like, for me, like, it's easy to forgive little stuff. And the big things forgive too, but like how people say forgive but don't forget. But I feel like in order to truly forgive, like not forgive, but like you can't dwell on it. And when it sometimes like big things, like I forgive, like I'm like, okay, like, yeah, I'm like, I'm not affected by it. I, accept that, you're a changed person, blah, blah, blah. But sometimes I just can't like remove it. I feel like there's something that's missing there. Like how, like I've forgiven certain situations because I don't dwell on it. So I'm just trying to figure out what the difference is, but it could be like just like the scale of the situation. Like it takes more work in, it's, you can't just take the shortcut, but just really thinking about like how to like truly forgive when it comes to like those big situations.
I have a book for you. It's called Radical Forgiveness. Girl, bomb.
Oh, wow.
Bomb.
Okay,
really good book. Hold on. And I didn't even recommend it to myself again, because I'm always talking about, I guess that's going to be how I continue on rereading that book.
Yeah.
Y'all got to reread books sometimes, most times, honestly. It's better to be reading like have a short library and read it over and over again than to have a huge library or not remember anything. So keep that in mind. But yes, Radical Forgiveness. I do not remember who it's by, but go look it up. It's a red book. It's a red cover. So when you
yeah. Okay. So what was it? It was like a self-help book. Like, what was the vibe?
Yeah. And it has
and
like
was it
because
you know how I am? You know how I am. Like, was it like a write in the book, or are they going through stories and like talking to me? I just gotta prepare myself.
I don't think it's a write in the book, but I also don't know if it's like going through stories. I think so. I think they have examples, but it's a pretty good read. Like once you get into it, you're like, dang, like this is juicy. Like, yes.
Okay.
It really just shows how I think the main part of the book, like the main storyline is that, like if you take yourself out of the situation and basically like understand, and the understanding is the first step to being able to forgive them. And it does touch on like forgiving and not forgetting type of thing. It does do that, and just realizing like even the bad things, how they really work for your good. And like everything happens for you instead of to you type of thing. So it's really good to like just change perspectives on the situations that's happening so that it's easier to forgive.
Okay. Yay. That's good. I'm glad I said something, because when you sound like, that's a little shaky over here too. So. But yeah, that's good. Okay. Nice. That's good to know. I'll note that.
I love the book recommendations. And if y'all want to see these reviews, we will be putting reviews on Better Reading Books too. Shout out, you know. Because Cam, after you're done reading your book that you about to find, we want that review.
I don't know what I'm about to do. I was sitting here. This conversation got me thinking about a book that I asked for when I was working at UCSD. I used to work in spaces, and I don't remember what the purpose was for. They just told every one of us to like give them 2 books that we wanted. So we all submitted 2 books, and then they bought us the books we wanted. At that time, I was like,
oh, wow.
I must have just sent in not too random, because one of them was like, okay, this sounds good. But like I literally just looked them up because I'm like, I don't read. So I'm like, I don't know what I want. But hey, they about to buy me books, so I'm gonna let them. But the book that I have under my bed is The Sisters Are All Right. And I don't remember fully what it was about, but that title it came to me while we was talking.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that might be relevant. Like maybe I'm ready to read it now. Because maybe when I asked for it, you know how it might have been a situation where it's like God was like trying to give me something that I wasn't ready for, but now that I'm sitting here, maybe it is. So I don't know what's waiting for me in that book, but maybe that'll be the thing that I get into, because my fiction picks have been so off lately. I'm upset with myself.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Let us know how it is too, because that title is captivating.
Yeah, I might.
What is it called again?
Tonight. The Sisters Are All Right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like,
that sounds like a healing book.
Like, okay.
Yeah. So I think I'm gonna tap into that one and see how that goes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Wow. Another successful episode, as always.
Right. I was really thinking another goodie.
And there you have it.
Yeah.
And y'all definitely got me thinking about some things that I'm gonna start doing. Definitely got to figure out my journaling process. I want to get into that for sure.
Yes.
My journal box.
Oh, and that.
That's what I'm gonna call it. That's what I'm gonna call it. My journal box.
Yes, make it something like that you like for sure. I like that. Also, too, like journaling can be like whatever. You don't always just have to write to journal. Like how Jada was saying earlier, talk to a screen, like type it out, write it in your notes. I don't know, like record yourself, all them things that she was saying, like, that's a form of journaling. I know friends, they record themselves on their laptops and just vent it out, and then they keep it and go back to it. Sometimes they delete it, or even just like documenting situations on Snapchat, because they have memories, so you can go back and just look. Just little stuff like that, stuff that we be doing every day, so might as well save it. Right. Yeah, but there's so many different ways like you can journal. I know there's like that chart where you have the months and the days in the month, and you put like a color in the square, like today I felt red and yellow, and then you just continue to do it, and then at the end of you can do a monthly, or you can just have one big one for the year. You look and be like, wow, like this is what my year was, what was going on over here, what was going on, it was a little yellow, like stuff like that. So definitely look into it, because it's important, and I think we kind of stress how it's been helpful for us. There's different ways to do that, so just some form of documenting and tracking what you're going through.
And share it with the girlies. DM us
and let us know.
Comment. Because look, we only got what we know, so
we looking for tips too.
Yeah,
exactly. Tell a friend. Share with us.
It just made me too think of 2 other like journaling ways that I had recently seen. One was like somebody was making a picture out of their words. So like they were just like writing a bunch of words about how they felt that day. And they were like doing it in a pattern that ended up like turning into this picture. And then they ended up going over it with like colors and everything. And it ended up turning into this like, what do they call it? It was like a garden or like a flower or something. I don't know. The way they described it, it was like, I like the way that they described it. But yeah, they basically just turned their words into a picture. So it was like, it was just whatever. But for them, it felt like, like I really got out how I wanted to express myself on the page. And I thought that was creative.
What was the other one?
Like that.
The other one was somebody made a quilt. No, not a quilt. They were crocheting. That's two completely different things. They were crocheting and they did it every day for a year, and they ended up making like a really big blanket, but it was like each like row, I guess, was a color of yarn, kind of like how Jay was saying, like you color in how you feeling that day. They had a color code for how they were feeling that day, and then they stitched like a row each day or however often they did it, and at the end of the year they had like a whole blanket.
Oh wow.
You know I'm a crocheter. I might have to do
I was
that.
about to say, that's your thing.
I might have to do that. Okay. I'm gonna update y'all. Look, next
Right.
week. I got the yarn, y'all.
That's
I
so
like that.
Okay, bet.
creative.
Big bet. Yeah, comment below because we need more of these. Like, comment below.
Yes, for sure. Get creative with it.
Good.
Wow. People's minds. Love that.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
I'm really about to go do that. Like,
Girl, that's what I'm saying. I'm thinking like, damn.
yes.
That's
But
exciting.
tell us how deep we got. 'Cause I think we got pretty deep.
Yeah, I think
do
Dare I
too.
say 4 deep?
Dare I say?
Dare I say?
Nah, we got we got pretty deep.
I think so
Sure.
too. Like, if we gonna get 4 deeps out, you know what I'm saying? I feel like this is definitely a contender
Yeah,
for
this
it.
was
It is.
this would
This was up
definitely
there.
be 4D.
It was definitely up there. Wow.
Into it.
Okay, y'all.
I knew we
look
was
at
getting
us.
4 deep when we started talking about stuff. Jada, when you asked that question, I said, "Oh my gosh, like why would she ask that? We really gotta get into it."
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, like we getting in there today, and yeah, so the show we got real deep, but I love that.
I know.
Yeah.
Look at us.
So good today.
Yeah, it was a
That's
good one.
awesome. As always, like, comment, subscribe, turn on them post
Please
notifications.
do. Rate, give us 5 stars, y'all. If you're on Spotify or Apple,
Please.
give us 5 stars.
Because if you want your friend to hear this, if you want it to pop up on their homepage, oh yeah, you need to go ahead and give this a thumbs up. Go ahead and do a 5-star rating on Spotify, Apple Music, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, and let us know, like, share to your story if you're listening and like something stands out to you. If you either want to DM it to us or even post it on your story, like, this is hidden or I relate to this, and even if you can give us like advice or feedback, like, please engage with us, because we do this to get it out like ourselves and talk to each other, but like also because we not only to give it to y'all too, but because we want to receive from y'all as well. So if you have anything to give, we are ready to receive. Okay.
Well said, Jay. Look at that.
I know. I couldn't say it seriously because it just went so nice. But yes, this is a great episode, and I'm proud of us.
Same.
Yeah.
Definitely.
All right. Well, we will see y'all on episode 6. Bye.
Bye.